This is a very simple routine I use before every workout that gets stiff joints moving and helps get things warmed up, ready for a session. Whether it's a leg day, back day, chest day, it doesn't matter. I just like to get my full body moving, and this covers all the major joints. So starting with a squat. If you struggle to get into a deep squat, then using something under the heels, like a little wedge or some plates, can be really helpful to help get you down there. Otherwise, a lot of people tend to topple over, but mostly because of limited ankle range. We're going to work on that as well in the squat. So what I'll do is have my elbows on my knees and drive the knees over the toes. Obviously normally do it without the weights there. But again, if you struggle, use something under the heels, or what can work really well as well is holding a weight in front of you and going from there. Putting pressure on the knees, driving it over the line of the foot and feeling that stretch in the ankle, because a lot of people are really limited in that dorsiflexion of the ankle. And I maybe spend a minute or two doing this repeatedly, because we're not just getting the ankle range here, getting knees to full flexion. We can even get hips to full flexion in this position. From there I'd move on and get into a reverse Nordic. So you want something soft under the knees for this. So toes are flat, coming back, all the way back, trying to keep the knees down. And then from there, rather than sitting up with the abs, pushing up like you're doing a leg extension. And this does take a bit of practice to be able to do this the whole way. So starting off, if you can't do it yet, starting off just leaning back a bit and coming up with the knees. And the better you get at it, the easier it is to come further and further back. I mean, I don't even find it easy, and I do it regularly. And maybe I'll do 10 or 15 reps of that. That's a great one for the knees. And I'll open up the hips. I always find getting that external rotation, that abduction, is often very stiff for me. So you'll see people with weights on the knees can be really useful. I also find just pushing down with the elbows, grabbing the ankles, and you'll feel a stretch in the groin as you do that. Really useful, just opening up those hips a bit. Rocking side to side can help. And these are just some ideas. It's not a strict prescription. Play around with it, see what works. Progress it, regress it as much as is comfortable, but challenging enough for you. And the low back. So I'm always quite limited in this movement on my front and pressing up. It's improved a lot for me. If you're able to fully extend your arms, that's great. If you can't, if you just get onto your elbows, you're still getting that extension. It's just not quite as far. Again, 10 or 15 reps of that is plenty to warm up. Another full spine movement that I really like is the cat-cow. So from the head to the pelvis, as you arch your back, looking up and reversing that, so tucking your tailbone under, bringing your chin down to your chest and going between those 2 points and really pushing that end range a bit. A lot of people are quite lazy with this one. Again, as many reps as you feel like is beneficial. I think people are often overly prescriptive with these kind of little warm-up movements. And we want some rotation in the spine. So let's get one leg out straight, bring the other leg across, hand on the knee, so our pelvis is facing that way, and we want our head facing the opposite way. If that feels like a lot, that's okay. Just try and drop the shoulder and bring the hip across as much as is comfortable. And just repeat that motion of that twisting of the spine. It's something we often avoid. Do it on both sides. And another spine one that people often neglect is a side bend. I like to do these on my knees. It's fun to get a bit more range. Pushing in the hips, so the hips want to go that way as my shoulders go this way. And leaning. Again, moving through that range, not just holding a stretch. And even getting the head to go with it. Repeating that as many times as feels manageable but challenging. Do that both sides. And the upper back extension. If you sat down a lot, often we're in this kind of rounded position, opening up can really ease some stiffness. Normally I do this at the gym. I have a foam roller. I don't have that today, but I do have a kettlebell. So getting on the knees like the cat-cow, and then pushing your chest towards the floor just to open up. You see my upper back extending, but I'm also stretching the shoulders here into full flexion. Just going through that range repeatedly. Using your breath here can really help as well, because you don't want to be tensing. You want to be able to relax into it, and you'll get a bit further. And something that I always do, especially if I'm doing a chest day, push day, is I'll do these kind of scapular press-ups, because we often are able to pull well with our shoulder blades, but pushing, because if we're doing a bench press, we often keep our shoulders pinned back, and we're never getting this kind of motion with the shoulders. And I find it's just a really useful movement to warm up. If it's too difficult to do it in a full press-up position, go on your knees. Start from there, master the movement first. And then the further back you go with your knees, the harder it's going to get. There's always something you can do to make any exercise slightly harder or slightly easier. And that's just a little routine that I'd use to get warmed up, to get moving, to ease off some of that stiffness before any kind of session in the gym. Give it a go. There's just some ideas. Hopefully it helps.